So I got an alert that the package is here. There we go. Coralvault.com. Oh man, I can't wait to open this up and get it in. Luckily the box shows no damage. I think FedEx delivered it. Doesn't seem like there's water leaking or anything. It does feel cold. I mean, it's pretty cold here today. Where I live, it's probably like 50 degrees outside. I mean, for a lot of you guys, you're probably saying that's hot, but for here in California, it's actually pretty cool. Wait till you guys see what we got in this box. Well, this is pretty cool. To take it off, look at that, just poke your finger through it. Actually, that's really neat. Not sure if that's something they did on purpose, but that's really cool. Just poke your hand on the top. Nothing else in the box. Again, luckily I don't see any water damage to the box, which leads me to believe hopefully nothing leaked out. Pull on the top. There we go. So everything looks really nicely packed. I've actually, believe it or not, guys, I've never owned any of these viewing glasses. This will be my first pair. It's really cool because I guess when people come over, you can have them put these on so they can look at them. Cornerstone Rock. I think this is like just advertising, I'm guessing. tylerstanks.com. Coral Feast sample. Looks like a coral food. I think I've heard about this before. I guess we can give that a try. Tyler's Tanks. Ooh, this for sure I got. Feeling Good GHL. I already got one of those. I will say the packaging is really nice. I'm really not worried at all about how everything looks to be packed in here. Oh, I could already see that color fluorescing. Now time to get them out, get them unpackaged, to finally be able to start acclimating them. Now for you guys out there that are wondering exactly what I got my hands on, starting out we have a red Blasto, followed by a Jawbreaker. Believe it or not, I've actually never had a Jawbreaker. A Winter Wonderland Gonapora, perfect for the Goni Garden. A Psychosis Zoa. These things are becoming, I've actually started to hear a little bit more about them. And lastly, an Ultra Micromusa Lord Wences Acan. Now this thing, I could already see some potential in the colors. I could only imagine what they're going to look like within a few months. They all look healthy. They all have water in them. Nothing looks super stressed out. So the first thing to do is to get these temperature acclimated. You can float the bag. You can do that various ways. I think by now, I don't think I need to show you guys how I do that. You can either float them in your tank, or you can brand new water from your salt mixing station already warmed up. Add some of that water, put them in a container where they can float, just to bring them up to temperature. Since these corals were shipped, I would say at least 45 minutes to get them temperature acclimated, and that'll just guarantee that they're at least brought up to temperature, so then we can start the dip and finally add them to the main display. While those corals acclimate in temperature, I'm typically against frag racks. I don't like them, at least long term. It's not that I'm against them, I just don't like them long term. Because then one frag rack leads to 2 frag racks, leads to 3 frag racks, and before you know it, you got a bunch of frag racks everywhere. So, oh wait, I still have one of these? Oh, is brand new? Oh shoot, it is brand new. Didn't even know I had that. Here it is. So the main reason I like to add frag racks when you're adding a new coral, it's a great observation place to look at them. Also, you can adjust the placement of it, such as the distance from the light itself. This one still looks to be in really good condition. It's dirty, yeah, I'll give you that, but I think I'll have some vinegar where we can clean this bad boy up. I just need to find the opposite end of the magnet, but I'll find that. I know for sure, or I hope it's in here. So I've turned this box inside out like 3 times and it's still not in there. But, well, that kind of bugs me. Now I'm wondering where in the heck I placed it. Well, it doesn't really matter where I place it. It's not here. I'm going to be using this GHL sensor holder. If I can get this magnet off. Okay, and it should... That's a little bit, I guess it... you know what? It should work. It's a little bit weaker. I mean, it's not designed for this application, but I hope it'll work. If it doesn't work, I can use my algae scraper, and that for sure I know will work. All right, well, the corals still sit there. I figure I'd show you guys a 3D printer. It's a little bit of a mess, but we actually have this thing working. You guys have no idea how fun it has been and enjoyable to own a 3D printer. I used to have them in the past, but I never really had them or had a use for whatever I printed out of it. Now that I have a reef tank, I'm able to think about something, print it out. I mean, you could see here I have the MP10 drivers. Right now it's printing a power supply holder for the Pax Bellum. And then in here, I have a bunch of these RODI holders, or tube holders. Yeah, so yeah, it's really cool. I'd say the hardest thing with the printer, well, learning the slicer. And if you guys don't know what the slicer is what converts the design file to tell the printer where to move, how much to move, the individual stepper motors. Now, a separate software from that is a design software such as CAD. So there's two softwares. There's a design software, and then there's a slicer software, which is what communicates and tells this whole apparatus exactly in each one of the motors what to do and how far to move. But once you're able to get past that, they're actually really cool. There is some websites, I think Thingiverse and a few others, where you can go and download pre-designed files from other users. That's what people do, and actually that's what I used to do. But it got boring because I was limited to what people had designed or released. Now that I learned how to design it myself, I don't need to wait. I just design it, think about it, and print it.
A few moments later.
I was able to give this a really good cleaning. A lot of the algae it had in coralline wasn't even really stuck to it, so I was able to wipe it off. And I guess now for the real moment of truth is how well it'll be able to stick with the makeshift magnet. Got the tank water here. The corals have already temperature acclimated. They're in that container there, using some Coral RX. I will say I tend to over dip just by a little bit on the Coral RX. I think it asked for 1 capful. That was probably close to 2. And then I've already showed this little contraption I use to kind of flush all the water through the coral. But what I'm doing right now is just mixing it. So the inner container, for you guys that didn't watch that video, the inner container, actually I can show you, has a bunch of holes, not only on the sides, but a bunch on the bottom, which forces water, hopefully through the whole coral. So now these, we can go ahead and open them up. Put them in the dip. It's very nice to see Coral Vault ship them in these little cups. That just protects the corals themselves during transportation, because we all know FedEx or UPS, they're not known for being the most careful. I'm sure with these maybe they're a little bit more careful because it does say they're live animals. It's not like we can be there next to them. Oh, look at this. The Zoa is already opening up. But not least, I really can't wait to show you guys these under, oh shoot, under the tank lighting. I'll start a timer anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes as recommended by Coral RX. Hey Siri, start timer for 10 minutes. While they're sitting in here for about 10 minutes, periodically, and even if you're doing the turkey baster method, you want to be coming in and just kind of mixing the water up a little bit. Luckily, I'm really not too worried about them. They all look really clean. The frag plugs themselves look really clean, so I'm not too worried about getting anything. I guess it'd be a lot more important if you're getting them from like a local reefer. Not saying that they give junk, just saying you can never be too careful. They're almost done here. Good news is I'm honestly not seeing anything come off these things. They were already super clean when I got them. And generally that's what you could expect from an online coral vendor, unlike a local reefer. And you know, they do this for a living, so they know their reputation's on the line. If they're sending out, you know, frags with a whole bunch of Aptasia and NASA stuff in there, they probably wouldn't get good reviews. So that's also why I tell people sometimes be very careful with local people. Again, nothing against them, just be very careful because there's a high risk if you're not doing your due diligence, dipping right, inspecting right, much less quarantining, you run a high risk of introducing something into your system. So these are nice and clean, everything looks good, I'm happy with them. Now we can just go ahead and add them into the tank. So here are the corals, just added them. I actually had to switch out the magnet to the flipper. I got the flipper cleaner here, dry side, because yeah, as you guys saw earlier, I could not find the magnet for this rack. What I can tell you guys though, even with this light, I just turned on the lights right now. They're not even supposed to be on yet, but oh my God, even with this lighting, guys, it is absolutely fire. One thing you guys saw me do as well for the mushroom itself, I left the cup that they shipped it in just to minimize the flow to make sure it doesn't detach and stays attached. That really suck if it would get detached, went into the overflow, then into the skimmer, or even worse, the return pump. So yeah, that's why I did that. I will probably lower them. It's actually really easy to do here with the flipper. You could see you don't want to go crazy fast, but if I keep moving it, it's going to tilt. So I'm going to have to put my hand in and guide it, but you guys for sure get the idea. We'll give them a few days to settle in, get them opened up, and then we'll show you guys what they look like fully opened up. It's been a few days, they look pretty happy. I figured now's a great time to feed them some reef roids. You can see really where the frag rack comes in handy on times like this, especially when you have new corals, because you can really babysit them, direct feed them, and just keep them as happy and healthy as you can. As typically when they're new corals, it's when they tend to go through a little bit more stress, but this way I feel you're able to adjust lighting, more importantly get them feeding so they get all happy, nice opened up, and start getting some of that color. I've also noticed in the past, anytime I do feed them reef roids within the next few days, they should be happy and plump. Whether that's going to be the case or not going to be the case, I guess we'll just have to wait and see till tomorrow. We have the corals on the frag rack. Actually fed them, as you guys saw, some reef roids. They've been there for a few days. They're open up. They're nice and fluffy. So I think it's time to finally get them placed in their final location. For the acans themselves, they're not high demanding corals. They really don't care for a lot of flow either. So I think somewhere in this vicinity should be a good location. Now the blastos themselves also, they don't care for too much light. They'll handle up to medium light, I've noticed. But also when it comes to flow, they don't care for much flow either. So I can either put them somewhere here on the side or in a similar location of where the acants are going to be. Now for the mushroom, we do have those for sure like low light and low flow. So I got quite a bit of areas on the bottom here as well as some locations in here where I can put that one and it should be shielded from not getting too much direct light. I think you guys can already guess where the Ghani is going to go. I want my Ghanapora garden to be pretty much everything here. So I'm gonna probably put it somewhere here on the bottom. One, because it'll contrast the red on this one quite well. Basic tools we are gonna need is some bone cutters. I think that's what these are called. This will just be to cut the bottom of the frag plug itself. Also, if you want to detach the coral from the frag plug, you can go ahead and do that. I personally like leaving them on, just makes them easier to move. And of course, our trusty Polyp Lab Premium Coral Glue. I've done video on this. I really like this glue. It sets up fairly quickly. So can't wait to get them situated. Check out the blasto. That thing is very nice and fat. I noticed after I fed them Polyp Lab yesterday, I mean, look at the acan. All of them really fattened up. So they certainly took to the Polyp Lab reef roids really well. Got them all situated. We got the Ghanapora right under this one. I'm hoping they actually get along and don't mess with each other, because not all types of Ghanapora will actually get along. So hopefully this one will get along with it and it'll fill in the bottom section. I put the zoa in kind of, I guess this has slowly become a small little zoa garden. We got the mushroom right there, right under the overhang where there isn't too much light, and I guess slowly over time we can bring it out. The blasto and the beautiful acan colony right here. So hopefully they settle in pretty good. They've been doing really good inside the tank, so I don't expect anything crazy with them. I'd say only time will tell now, and let's see what they look like in a few months. That's going to conclude this week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I really liked it. I think any of us out there, when we're able to receive a package of coral or fish, it's just really exciting. The good news is it's probably been about a week and a half. You can see everything is still very happy. We got the acan, the Blasto, the beautiful Jawbreaker. We got the Zoa down there. The fish actually were picking on the plug. It dislodged, so now it's down there. And of course, we have the Gonapora down on the bottom. Luckily, I've seen them touch. They don't seem to be stinging each other. There doesn't seem to be any coral warfare. So I think they're going to be able to get along. Aside from that, I will say I'm very happy with all the corals. I think the website and the colors really match with what I received. So if you guys are looking for a great shop online to get some corals, because I'm pretty sure we're always looking for good places, be sure to check out coralvault.com. I will have a link in the description. So that's going to wrap this week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for next week. We actually have a lot of stuff to cover. There's been quite a few changes in the reef tank, so you guys will not want to miss it. So I thank each and every one of you very much for watching. As always, happy reefing.